Oh, it's Friday. Good morning. Good morning. We're like over here laughing at the fact that it's Friday and we're not sure what we're doing. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, October 22nd. Thank you for tuning in to Daily Drop-In, which is an intentional time every morning where the Teach Better team goes live at 7 a.m. Eastern, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch to talk shop, share some positivity. We have some epic holidays today that I did not tell Brad about because you know me, I want an authentic reaction from the one and only Brad Hughes. We also have a good news story. We have a ton of questions we need to address in our brainstorming segment, and fingers crossed, we also need to recap our theme that we've been having all week long on Daily Drop-In, which is about sharing your story, crafting your brand, everything in between. I think it's going to be a really busy show. So please go fill up your coffee because we need you mentally ready for this morning's conversation, and we'll be right back. Morning, everyone. Welcome to Daily Drop-In. The one and only Brad Hughes is with us because it's Friday. How are you, Brad?
I'm great. Happy it's Friday, Ray. Thinking back on a great week of discussion. I thought I would be alone on Daily Drop-In today. I thought you would just be kind of a smushed up mess of intellectual, educational awesomeness after the caliber of guests that you connected with this week. So it's been a fantastic week of listening. I'm eager to dig into it with you. Did you have a good week, and how are you doing on this Friday?
Yeah, this week has been fabulous on Daily Drop-In. I've loved the guests we've been able to feature. And I just want to confirm I am always an education mess, in case you're wondering. That happens every single day, not only on Fridays. So I appreciate that you're here with me because I feel like we get the conversation moving. Less work for me. That way, when I'm distracted with 1,000 things in my mind after a crazy week, you help center me. You facilitate this conversation, Brad. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Fridays are special in my life, and looking forward to connecting with you again today. I was trying to reflect on how many Fridays we've put in together, and then I was reflecting even bigger. What an awesome enterprise the daily drop-in has been since we kicked off in fall. And Ray, you've been the cornerstone, you've been the foundation, you've been the person there for each and every one of us every day. So I think that's worth naming and celebrating.
I appreciate it. It's been really fun. Good morning to Adam in the comments and everybody else joining us. We're thrilled you're here. Brad, did you go back and count how many weeks we're on? I think, and this is a guess, I think we're on 10.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah, that's what I think so too. I think this is our 10th Friday, our 10th anniversary. And then next week will be our 11th.
Perfect. I love when that happens. Good morning, everyone. We have a lot in store. We're only 3 minutes in, and I just feel already the pressure to make sure we get through as much as possible today because we're going to try and fit in as much positivity and value and discussion as possible as y'all wake up, hopefully sipping your coffee on this beautiful Friday morning. Candace in the comments, good to see you. I did want to mention, Brad, there were these really terrible tornadoes, and I know that unfortunately, bad weather happens frequently all over the world, and we love to stay informed, but we specifically have a wonderful core group, a very active core group, where there was tornado touchdowns in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I just want to give a general statement that if you know of anybody who needs anything, if you personally need anything, if there's anything the team can do, please let us know, make us aware. We really value the members of our family. We have a department that exists to support, members of our community that are going through any sort of hardship. And I just want to make sure that we laid that blanket statement, not only for our Ohio family, but for anybody at any point in time to please, please, please let us know. It was a very difficult night for some of our family members. So good morning, and we hope you're safe. Thank you for commenting to let us know that you are safe and doing well this morning.
Scary stuff, Ray. And severe weather, like any emergency, can really be extremely stressful. And as school leaders or educators, we think about the health and the well-being of everybody within our school buildings and everyone within our family. So I just wanted to echo that, hope that all is well. And if it turns out not to be the case, please reach out. We're here for you.
Absolutely. Brad, I also want to mention before I forgot, because I feel like there's like little seeds we're throwing out kind
Mhm,
of in this Friday show. There's
mhm.
a lot coming that we are officially allowed to like nudge about. One of which is that I really want to encourage everyone to follow our stories. And so that's either on Instagram stories, or they do translate to Facebook stories this weekend. Because I have a feeling there might be some Teach Better spoiler alerts happening this weekend. And I am actually crafting up an email to the people that are involved in this weekend, reminding them not to have spoilers. But there's going to be very little sleep and a lot of shenanigans. And I have a feeling there will be some good shenanigan spoilers coming this weekend if you follow our stories. So shout out to all of you who have followed and subscribe to kind of all the Teach Better things. Thank you to those of you who listen on Teach Better Talk podcast. We're thrilled you're here. Please, if you're willing to leave a review and rate the podcast, we really appreciate that. That's how we reach more listeners,
Mhm.
but specifically those that are connected on Facebook or Instagram. This will be interesting.
I smell an exciting Teach Better road trip this weekend, Ray. I'm not sure if you can delve into any details, or they'll be coming out afterwards. But yeah, the team's excited about discovering and sharing out some exciting news, all founded on what they find out this weekend. So incredible stuff.
Here is my teaser. And I
Yeah.
actually have no idea what we're allowed to talk about, which is kind of the first thing I need to figure out today, because I don't think anybody's really established the rules of the weekend.
The
But
rules.
here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at, Brad. Typical big work day today.
Mhm.
And then I'm hopping on a plane at 9:30 at night with Katie Miglin in O'Hare, so in Chicago.
Mhm.
We are flying to a location. We land at midnight. We're taking a rental car, an hour drive somewhere else. We are then going to meet up after we sleep, because it'll be like 2 a.m. at this point. We're asleep a little bit. We're meeting up with Jeff Gargas, Chad Ostrowski, Joshua Stamper, and Dr. Dave Schmittou. And then Katie Miglin and I are meeting up to visit the conference venue. We're meeting up to talk about details of the conference, finalize the announcement of the conference happening within the next 7 days.
Ooh.
And we are also then like prepping the beginning foundational elements of the conference. Like, when do proposals open? When does registration open? I mean, these secrets
Oh.
have been in the works. We're like 99% done with a lot of these foundational pieces, but we were coming together after viewing the new venue for this conference, and it's gonna be a little crazy. So that's my spoiler alert. Oh,
Yeah.
and then we have like a 6 a.m. flight on Sunday. Like, there'll be no sleep all weekend. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Ray, at any time, are the team members going to be put on a boat and directed to jump off the boat only with their belongings and maybe some luggage to swim to an island and establish a new civilization there? Because until you mentioned the conference, it sounded like an episode of Survivor to me.
That's how it feels. Katie was messaging me last night being like, "What are you packing?" And I'm like, shorts, jeans, a jacket, tank top, my swimming gear, and my scuba suit. That's what I'm packing. And she's like, "That
Yeah,
makes sense."
I would highly recommend Flint, a tarp, and maybe some fishing gear, and of course, you can't forget the official Teach Better buff. That if that's not already in the swag store, Ray, we've got to get the Teach Better buff into the swag store immediately.
Yes, I completely agree. I also, Brad, this is like a question. And if you're
Yeah.
listening in the comments, slowly waking up, we'd love you to participate. If you could bring 3 things on an island, Brad, I feel like your 3 things that you would bring would be really functional. I would bring like a picture of my
Mhm.
dogs and like some bubble gum and like, I don't
I
know.
would bring probably an e-reader. I'd probably bring something to listen to with a full playlist, and I honestly, I'd hope that I have some way to keep if I'm there on my own, some way to keep in touch with family and friends.
Okay, I will say, Brad, I think that we on a deserted island, like I would trust myself being with you. We would figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't think you should I would be dead weight for you. You don't want me on a desert island, trust me, but I really trust your skills. I think that we could make this work.
I'm gonna send you back a hard disagree. I think you'd be an amazing partner on a desert island. I not only do I think that we would figure things out, I think that we would learn through the process, and then when we get back to dry land, we can share out all of the great things on Daily Drop In. I think that you are, of the two of us, you would be the person to find the immunity idol on the island.
You're so sweet, Brad. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. I love Survivor. Hey, if any of you have not watched Survivor, I'm a huge fan. You should put that on your weekend to-do list. Also, the people in the comments trying to guess where we're going to be this weekend, the whole point is that we're not telling you what deserted island we're going to for the conference. However, I will say the person that posted the comment is a Teach Better ambassador. And Jeff Gargis and I went live in the ambassador group, the private group, like a few days ago, and we told way too many secrets. So that person specifically making guesses, you should go watch that live video.
I think a course that maybe our Teach Better team needs to take or make in the Teach Better Academy is how to keep secrets, confidentiality 101, how to keep the wraps on big news when you're just bubbling over with excitement. I'm not sure I'd be the one to write or create that course, but maybe somebody in the Teach Better team, maybe who's done like an internship at the CIA or something, could help.
I don't know who on the team keeps the secrets the best. My problem is that with my role on the team, I'm involved in so many projects that I'm on secret overload at all times. So I just feel like I need to spout them out, like to get them out of my brain.
Right.
But who keeps you know who I think keeps the most secrets? I feel very confident with this answer, is Joshua Stamper. I think he's a vault. He's a vault. And he knows a lot too. Like if you ever want to Josh knows more than he leads on, you know? How are you at keeping secrets?
Pardon me?
How are you at keeping secrets?
Not good. If it's information, if it's strictly need to know, no, I'm really good at it. If it's exciting news that's sort of a semi-secret where you want to tease people and get them excited, yeah, no, I'm all over that. But yeah, no, I'm good at strictly, like I can be a vault, and sometimes I let people know that if you want to have a conversation, we can vault the conversation, just speak freely, speak from the heart, and we'll figure things out together. But otherwise, no, I am all about surprise and anticipation and building positive anticipation about stuff.
I do agree with you. Yes. If it's something like private that like, I like your phrasing, like need to know something about somebody else, I get it. But if it's like something exciting that we are intentionally getting excited about to share with our community and we know it's going to make them happy when we share it, I'm useless. I can't keep a secret for the life.
It's all part of the fun. No, it's all part of the fun.
I will say, Brad, and we have to move away from this. Otherwise we're going to continue spilling secrets, but we will announce Teach Better surprises literally next week. I feel confident being able to say that. I think the official day of us announcing Teach Better Conference details is being released this morning. So you're going to see it on social media, but it is next week. And I was excited about the announcement. Don't get me wrong. I am thrilled. We have 3 major details that are releasing next week. I'm so stoked. And then you got involved in how we're sharing the secret. And it made my whole year. Like the way that you're involved in sharing the secret, I am just overjoyed to have our family experience that. That's what I'm excited about.
I'm overjoyed that you're overjoyed. And I saw Adam in the comments there recommends that I make sure that I bring the tiara along. I will have the tiara polished and ready to accept the accolades after all of that is released.
You'll deserve it. It'll be great. All right. So I'm all off. We're 14 minutes into our live. I'm not sure we've given you any details, but we've really given you all the details. We do typically at this time go to good news. Are we good to transfer that direction?
We're good for the good news. Let's do it.
You're ready for the holidays?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Good morning, everyone. We are in our good news segment for Daily Drop-In. Thank you for waking up early and tuning into our morning show where we can't promise that a lot's going to happen that is of value, but we're going to do our stinking best. Brad Hughes is live with us this morning, and we are going to continue to not only bring you holidays and good news, but also recap the week. We have at least 3 questions that we need to address from our community that we're going to try and fit in. And Adam's obviously very important comment wanting to know if you are going to be helping announce conference details and metric units. I feel like feel like
Yeah.
that's a skill you absolutely could take on, Brad. I'm just saying.
100%. Yeah, I speak imperial and metric. However the information can get to our Teach Better family, that's how I want to deliver it. So, yeah, I'm fluent in both Fahrenheit and Celsius, and I can also make sure that everyone's aware of how to get where to go and at what speed in metric and imperial.
There we go. Happens. Brad, we typically would do holidays and then our good news story. Do you want to do that in that order? Or are we switching it up today?
No, that sounds great. I love that order.
All
I
right.
love that journey for us, Ray.
Well, here we go, Brad. There are some epic holidays today for all of you that use these holidays, not only in your classrooms, but as conversation starters for your colleagues. This is a good one. There's a lot of options today, which I really appreciate. First off is National Nut Day. How do you feel about almonds, cashews? Are you a fan?
I'm a big fan, and many people know that I am a nut myself. So I feel celebrated and I feel recognized today,
Okay.
Ray. Thank you.
Always good. This might be my favorite holiday that I never knew existed. It's also International Cap Locks Day. And for those of you who work with me in any capacity, if you receive emails from the Teach Better team from me, if really we're ever in a meeting and I'm taking notes, I believe everything should be caps like at all times. And Jeff actually, it infuriates him. He like hates that I use so many caps. So International Cap Locks Day, that's the best holiday of all time.
It really allows you to communicate with your authentic voice, Ray. I mean, your excitement, your passion for all things Teach Better and education. Just celebrate today. I expect to receive many messages from you in all caps, and I'll celebrate along with you.
I think it's so sweet that you think it's because of my excitement. That is not my reason for why I like caps locks, but that's what I'm going to start telling people that's my reason for.
Are you used to not feeling listened to, Ray?
No, it's not. Okay, so like Adam just posted in the comments in all caps, why do you like it? Like really? Okay, when I read that, it does feel like someone's yelling at you aggressively. That's the perception, which is not my intention. I like cap locks for one reason, and it's the fact, that I'm a really bad speller, and it's just easier to capitalize all letters so that I don't get any letters wrong. Like all the rules of like capitalizing titles. Like, I know how to capitalize at the beginning of a sentence, friends. I do know that. All those, there's so many rules. I just think it's more fun if everything's capitalized. Then nothing is incorrect. It's all correct.
I think in all of your spare time, Ray, you might want to take a German course where all of the nouns are capitalized. And then if you are communicating in German, then everyone will know that you're spot on. You've got capitals here, there, and everywhere.
See, I just love this. I do need to become fluent in whatever language allows me to use cap locks more often than not. So I'm a huge fan for that. So happy International Cap Locks Day. May you all only type today in capital letters. Moving on. It's also National Color Day. I know that a lot of our Teach Better family loves color. Brad, you seem to be a color fan, don't you think?
100%. Yeah, I'm a visual arts guy at heart and was a visual arts teacher for several years, and I'm all about color. I remember instructing kids about aspects of color, and I'm just curious if that's spelled COLOR or OUR.
Well, Brad, I think this is one of the many faults of the Teach Better show is this specifically says National Color Day,
Right.
and it's in the US. So it is in COLOR, no U. I apologize. But if it was international, I would hope to add the U possibly for all the friends that do spell it that way.
Several U's and maybe capitalize just random letters in there just for fun.
Yeah, I want to hear if you're listening right now, take 2 seconds. It'll take 2 seconds. Throw in the comments your favorite color. This specifically says, step out of the black and white box and celebrate National Color Day. I like your shirt, Brad. You got a lot of color on there too.
I do. Yeah. Thank you. This is called my Pokeroo shirt. There's a children's show in Canada that is called or was called Polka Dot Door. And there was a character on the show, kind of like Sesame Street Snuffleupagus, where no one could really put their finger on where this guy was. And its name is Pokeroo. So Pokeroo would pop in and then Pokeroo would pop out. And then the adult host would come in and say, we missed Pokeroo again. And that because I pop in and out of the office and out of the school a lot, I have actually got an office door sign that says "popped out for the day" with a picture of Pokeroo waving. So, all of you, if you've got 5 seconds, If you do a Google search for Polkaroo, you can see the beloved Polkaroo of Canada's polka dot door.
I am absolutely 100% Googling that when we're done. That is so sweet. I love that. Well, see, you can celebrate National Color Day with that fabulous part. The last element that I want to celebrate for holidays, which I think is very relevant in our schools, is today is Smart is Cool Day.
Mm.
And so we want to emphasize that this day recognizes, appreciates, and celebrates being smart, which is always a good thing.
I'd encourage all of our educators today, in honor of this special day, to help kids uncover how they are smart, because a lot of kids are walking around with a faulty script, a faulty narrative. They're not smart. Others are, but I can't. I don't. Let's uncover how kids are smart, and let's celebrate so that they know how they're smart and how their particular gifts add value to our classroom communities.
I love that. What a great challenge for the day, Brad. Perfect challenge as we get into our good news story.
So, Ray, I know that we have a lot packed in to today's episode. I was going to propose reading every third word of the good news story just in the interest of time. Do you think that would meet our audience's needs and expectations? Or
You know what? I typically would say yes, but
yeah.
maybe we should go with more of a summary of the article. Just
I think that's great. And this week we've been focusing on telling our stories, making sure that the communication about us as individuals or as educators or as contributors to educational districts is consistent and people know what they're going to get. And this is about storytelling as well, Ray. This is the story of humanity. This is the story of a National Geographic sponsored retracing of our ancestors' slow motion walk out of Africa. And the host, Paul Salopek, is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist and photographer. He's been traveling overland on foot since the middle years of President Obama's presidency. He's been documenting his trip across the equator, and then the pandemic hit. And so Paul has been stuck in the same place for months. And now he is getting back on track. He is wandering through scenes of war and refugee crisis in Syria, Ethiopia. He is on his way to the Central Asian steppe, the Indian subcontinent, before reaching the river valleys of the Tigris and Euphrates. And so that is a National Geographic sponsored quest to tell humanity's story in a first person perspective. And I was thinking of Becky Schnexer as well, with her connection with National Geographic. I thought Becky would appreciate that story. And when we talk about telling each other stories, this is the ultimate origin story, right?
Well, no kidding. There are so many ways you can use this in the classroom. I love your tie-in to telling a story. Obviously, that's been our theme this week. We're going to hopefully get into that in the show. But additionally, there's so many elements to lock on in that story. Geography, passion, different cultures. I mean, holy cow, there could be endless discussion. I love that you brought that up. That would be a really, really fascinating way to kick off your day with students this morning.
Paul intends to cross northeastward through China and Russia, and then ultimately cross the Bering Strait in the winter, and then plunge all the way south down through North America to South America, just as early ancestors did. It is truly an epic quest, and I look forward to following Paul's journey online. And eventually, I hope that National Geographic has had an opportunity to document it for maybe a TV special or a series.
Oh, I love that. I cannot wait for an update on his story. I couldn't imagine taking that journey, but what an incredible opportunity for us to follow his experience, live vicariously through him, right? I love that mindset.
Exactly.
And on social media, we sometimes do like a track Chad, where depending on where he is in the world. I think today he's in New York working with a school district. And I kind of feel like this is a similar, but maybe more important vibe. But I do enjoy tracking Chad around North America as he travels. And obviously, Christmas Eve tracking Santa. So I do enjoy watching people's traveling experiences and living vicariously through them. This is good.
Do you get a Google Maps summary of all of your travel at the end of each month, right?
I wish I did. Wouldn't that be cool? I would love that. To be honest, though, I don't travel nearly as much. Dave and Chad travel 4 or 5 days a week. So on our team. So it's a little intimidating to see Chad and Dave's calendar because they are always on the road, always in a different school. And I thought they would travel together, and they don't. They're like constantly all over the map on their own. So I don't know how they do it, Brad. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's not divide and conquer though; it's divide and inspire for those two. So that's amazing.
Oh, so good. Brad, we do have our brainstorm bank segment coming up. And in this brainstorm bank, I want to make sure we get to not only questions live. If you are listening and you want to give questions, please do. However, we've had some really essential questions in our private Facebook group we're going to get to, and also hopefully get to the theme of our week, which we've been able to touch on and kind of recap. So should we transition into that real quick?
We'll see you on the other side, Rae.
All right. See ya on the other side. All right, as many of you already know, the Teach Better family is always here to answer your questions. We in no way are saying that we have the one and only answer, but our hope is that we can be here to brainstorm with you, maybe connect you with somebody else to explore your thinking and be a brainstorm partner in your journey of learning and mastering whatever you are working on. I know a lot of you choose to participate live with us. However, so many other people choose to also share their comments over at teachbetter.com/daily drop-in, where you can submit brainstorm bank questions. We also have some incredible friends that have been posting and been very active in the Teach Better Team private Facebook group over at teachbettergroup.com. And those are the questions that we are going to start with today, Brad. So I'm very excited to get your insight, because while these are grid method questions, I also think these end up being philosophical questions, like how to be a strong staff member questions. And I think that I would really, really appreciate your lens, not only as an administrator, as a leader, as an educator who continues to foster and mentor other educators. I think this is going to be a really good discussion.
I'm looking forward to it. You can always count on me to let you know what's on my mind. And sometimes I've only got a half a mind to share at any one time. So between the two of us, if we can put our brains together and come up with some answers to help propel people forward today, it'll have been worth it, Rae.
Yes, absolutely. And so these are from two different groups that we have as a Teach Better family. If you're a math teacher, there is a specific Facebook group of math teachers that use the grid method. And that's where our first post came from today. I don't actually know the direct link, to be honest, but I can tell you that the group is titled Math Grid Sharing. So if you can't find it, please let me know. I think it was originally created by Megan, who's on the Teach Better team. So let us know, and we'll kind of like direct you there if you're a math teacher seeking this group. However, this is a very relevant question regardless of what you teach. It just so happened to be in that group. It says, by Emily, shout out to Emily. Thank you for posting your question. It says, I decided to give my third unit a go with the grid method. My algebra students love it. My seventh graders, not so much. My AP came in today. She means her assistant principal, came in today and told me I'm not teaching enough and to stop with this video business and go back to traditional teaching. I know it was a rocky first unit, but it was just that, the first attempt at something new. I had already planned out ways to modify everything that didn't go well so it would work better for my students in the next unit, but I don't know if I should even try it at this point. Do I do as I'm told and go back to a traditional teaching, or continue with the grid, making my adjustments and planning on reflecting with my students throughout the process like I was already planning to? I'm so frustrated, ! So I really was proud that Emily reached out to her community when she found that there was some sort of hurdle happening, regardless of if it was with the grid method, classroom management, like literally any problem. That's why we're here. So Brad, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I just read, and we can kind of continue the discussion from there.
Yeah, I want to echo your praise and encouragement for Emily of bringing that forward, because it is so stressful to be excited about an approach that you believe and is showing evidence that it's reaching kids, and it's also helping them to find their skills and to find where their areas of expertise are. And so when there's a mismatch between your excitement for that approach and what your school administrators may expect for you, if it's possible and you've got the relationship with that school leader, it's schedule a time to chat and say, hey, I've been reflecting on our conversation about the use of videos. I would love an opportunity to help unpack why I'm trying it, the impact it's making on my students, not only in terms of their learning, but also their engagement, their social, emotional excitement about coming to my class. So for Emily, if videos are, if you've got evidence, anecdotal evidence that videos are something that the kids are telling you they look forward to, we always want to give kids a reason to come to our class. And so if you can, I would schedule a time with the administrator to give yourself an opportunity to unpack this journey, unpack the fact that you're learning through this process, and while it may not be perfect at first, nothing ever is. And so, and then get the administrator's feedback on that, and invite him or her to explore sort of what expectations he or she has of you, and hopefully those are aligned to district expectations as well, and see if there is some way you can meet in the middle. There was I hope there's an opportunity for discussion rather than shutting down that innovative practice. But it also feels maybe a little bit unfair that Emily has to take additional initiative to do just that, Ray. But that is what it may take in this instance, at least to keep the conversation going, rather than have things shut down. What do you think?
Well, we all have those instances where somebody enters our classroom and makes a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love, Brad, you think so differently than me, which is why I love talking shop with you, truly. You always come into the conversation with a slightly different lens, and I always appreciate your perspective. Your approach in saying, schedule an additional meeting, continue the conversation, is something I wholeheartedly agree with. I think that's a wonderful first step, because somebody entering your room with maybe very little perspective of what's actually going on, because we can only take in so much information in a given point in time, and making a comment, the comment's valid. You absolutely want to make sure you go to your assistant principal and address any concerns, because you're both in it for the students. You're both in it to ensure that the classroom is successful and students are able to be successful. But I feel like in her post, she felt unheard. She felt like she had more that she wanted to share, and that opportunity to schedule another follow-up meeting and say, I'd love to discuss this, I'd love to meet in the middle, to me is such a beautiful collaboration that we're able to have. So many of us, when we see something new, get fearful. What does this lead to? What hurdles are going to come? And I can only assume that an assistant principal wanting to ensure that students are successful carries similar fears, right? They want to make sure that students have positive learning opportunities and that the students are able to reach the goals of mastering the content. And so I think hopefully through a collaboration, through some sort of discussion, you can kind of air the fears in the room and tackle them one by one. Is it a concern that students are on their computers too much, and that's why the videos have this negative rep? Okay, beautiful. We absolutely don't want our students glued to computer screens. That is not a practice that we necessarily are condoning, right? We want our students to have rich, dynamic learning opportunities. But that doesn't mean video needs to be gone holistically, but maybe videos need to be shorter and used more intentionally. Beautiful. That's a middle ground that we can reach. Or somebody that walks in and sees that students are struggling because they're learning to advocate for themselves. Typically, we don't teach students how to consume knowledge, collaborate on information, and then advocate for their needs. Well, if that's being perceived as something that's really challenging, what supports do we have in place to continue to foster this skill and this quality in our students? So anyway, Brad, I guess my perspective is yes to everything you're suggesting, because I think everything in teaching should be a collaboration with the entire ecosystem that's invested in the student success.
Ray, when we're talking about helping each other as educators move our practice forward, there always will be an element of observation, whether it's observation from without or personal observations. And in many cases, in the life of an AP who's popping in and out of classes, perhaps, what we see in terms of perception, what we see is all there is. And so we know that there is so much more going on than what we see in a 3 or 4 minute walkthrough. There are 3 powerful words that I want to encourage Emily to use, and all of our listeners and viewers to leverage. And those words are help me understand. And so shifting the conversation from a response or a reaction to the AP's comments, see if you can find some time, and Emily could go forward and say, help me better understand your observations about the use of video in class, and allow, and just sort of, if there's the time and the energy, just go in listening and fact finding mode and gather all of the information. Now, Emily wouldn't have to respond to that in that moment. Emily could say, I really appreciate this understanding your perspective even better. I'd like some time to think about how to incorporate your perspective and still move forward with the use of video. And I hope to, help you better understand where I'm coming from too. But those three words, help me understand, are extremely powerful in terms of reaching improved understanding, and I guess some resolution, whether it's peer to peer or supervisor to you, whatever it is.
Brad, I really appreciate that. I think that is a wonderful action step that can be taken right now. The other comments I did want to note, because this post got a lot of activity in our group because everyone's always so eager to help, was a discussion around having a hybrid version of a classroom. I want to continue to echo that. Anytime we make a shift, we don't have to dive head first into the deep end. There are ways to make accommodations and work in different strategies slowly as you continue to foster and develop a different environment. And there should be no shame or guilt in that. I would love to, for anybody, but obviously Emily as well, if you want to talk through some middle ground choices that you can make as you continue to foster this environment, that's absolutely appropriate. I really loved the discussion there. And the other element of this is really just acknowledging that anytime you try something new, it's going to be challenging. And the reality is that with your first grade, your second grade, your third grade, your fourth grade, with your 100th grade, you're tweaking. And so acknowledging that things need to be changed, acknowledging that this is a collaborative effort, not only between the instructor, but also the student and everybody in between, is a beautiful opportunity here. So allow, and it sounds like she is, allow for time for reflection, allow for your students' voice to be heard. And when they tell you, oh, I really dislike this one element, take the time to say, okay, is there a way for me to make that element more appealing or easier to chew on? Or maybe it's not even necessary right now for us to be including that element, because if you can take away hurdles, then wonderful. How beautiful is it that we can all kind of create the environment together, even though we obviously have this research data supported methodology that we know is positively impacting students. The last thing I do want to mention, Brad, before I forgot, is Emily, if it would be helpful to get data to look at how this framework has changed classrooms across the globe, please let us know. We have a ton of information, admin resources, and so many different pieces of printouts and curated content for administrators that are looking to understand and support teachers using this process. So please let us know. I will send that all your way if you're interested. So hopefully that gives her a lot to work with, Brad.
Ray, before we shift conversation away from Emily's question, I would like to take maybe just 1 minute or 2 minutes just to acknowledge the emotional piece. As educators, educating is so intimate and personal. And I know of very few other professions where our personal identities and investments and energies are so closely tied with our workplace and the outcomes, which is our students. And so I just want to acknowledge that, especially when you are rolling out something new, there's tremendous vulnerability to begin with. You don't know how it's going to go. You want the very best for your students. You want to make sure they're successful. So Emily's already in a vulnerable, maybe energy depleted position. And then she gets a comment like this, and it stings. I just want to name that stings, and it hurts. And we understand why. It's because you think you're doing all that you can. You're already in a vulnerable position trying something new. And what you're seeking is at least some positive feedback that, hey, this is interesting. I'd like to learn more. Sometimes there's a mismatch between what the feedback that you hope to receive and the feedback that the person observing is in a position to provide. And so I just before getting away, I just wanted to say to Emily, we also understand the emotional impact of being an innovator. And as Candace is there, I mean, if you're tweaking after 4 years of grids, how wonderful to continue to model the learning process with your kids in front of you. And so, I mean, Candace, I mean, 4 years, you're in a constant state of vulnerability. You're a constant state of updating, improving, tweaking what you do. And so this is where we want to be. We want to be on the learning edge of things, and we hope that the feedback that we receive is going to match what's going to sustain us. But just wanted to acknowledge, Emily, that what you're attempting to do is energy intensive, and what happened to you, it stings. And so we're hoping that even with an additional investment of energy and intention on your part, you can unpack the why, unpack the reasons why that feedback was provided, and see if you can meet in the middle.
Yes, couldn't agree more. It's funny. I'm just gonna say this out loud because Candace, I need you to message me. I think Candace and I have been doing the grid as long as I think we've been doing the grid just as long. I think I've been doing the grid for 4 or 5 years. I might be on year 5. I'm not sure, but regardless, Candace was somebody that I vividly remember, like when our Facebook group got started. The Teach Better team isn't that old. We've been around for like, I think 6 years. I think we're coming up on our 7th year anniversary. And I think it's in March. I'm making all this up. Either way, the point is, I vividly remember learning the grid alongside Candace's feedback in that private group very, very early on. So Candace, I think that we're on year 5. I mean, we might be on year 4, but that's been fun, kind of like having that journey together. It's always so fun to continue to carry those friendships and collaborations year over year. I will say, Brad, we're going to run out of time here. I at least wanted to note that there are some other questions in the private Facebook group at teachbettergroup.com. If you're an educator who you don't need to have the answers, but if you're willing to share your thoughts, your opinions, if you could go over to these posts, I'd really love them to get some TLC, some insight, some perspective, if you don't mind going and sharing those. So if you're listening right now and you're not in our private Facebook group, go join. There are 2 posts I at least want to acknowledge. One is by Caitlin Bryant. This is all about grading, and she wants to hear people's thoughts and opinions on how to grade. She is specifically using the grid method, but I will tell you that there isn't a right or wrong way to grade in the grid method. There's a suggested way that we believe you should provide feedback and assign grades in your classroom, regardless of the methodology that you use. So there's already 17 comments on this post, but I'm hoping that people go back and continue to add their grading perspectives. So that would be interesting. The other one is from Tuesday by Heather James. And what she's going through in here is she's identifying like the 4 things that she thinks are essential to have in the classroom, and kind of asking if anybody else has insight, things that she feels like she might be missing. And so this one specifically didn't have a lot of activity on it, but definitely could foster some good discussion. So anyway, you can head over to teachbettergroup.com to add those thoughts and perspectives and continue that collaboration. So we appreciate all of you that continue to share your voice.
Sure do.
Brad, we have a theme that we have been focusing on all week that I want to kind of tie up in a pretty bow, get your perspective. I'm wondering if we should cheat a little bit. We could play the cool jingle, get into recapping the week, and then also lend our perspective, kind of like smush them together. What are your thoughts?
I love it. Sounds like a fluffernutter special to me.
I love a good fluffernutter special. All right, we'll be right back here with this recap. And y'all know this is our favorite tune of the week.
Okay, I figured out, Ray. It's the pulsing synths about a third of the 2/3 of the way through the wow. Like it's like, oh yeah, that just hits right.
I love it. I love it. It is every time I like find myself smiling in the background, and I'm like, Ray, you're such a nerd. You listen to this song every week. I did feel cool though, Brad, because this week we had Mickey Smith Jr. on, who's like a big musician. And every time I clicked a commercial during his segment, I was like, do you think he likes this song? I would love to get his thoughts.
I'm curious if Mickey Smith Jr. would be willing to adapt. I mean, even that one transition music to, I don't know. I think it could be sort of the Ray Hewart mix, courtesy of Mickey Smith Jr. I know he's a busy man, but anyway, Mickey, if you're listening, maybe that's a special gift in kind you can provide to Teach Better team and make Ray Hewart's day. Otherwise, maybe Kelly Ripa has an in. I'm not sure, Ray.
Kelly Ripa's the girl. I will say, any of you who chose to follow Mickey Smith Jr. on Instagram, which he encouraged when he was live with us on Tuesday, he did post some saxophone stuff on his Instagram, which is always good in my book. So I was very happy to see that. Brad, we've been focusing this week on building our brand. And when we say brand, we don't mean at a company level. We mean like, what's your story? Who are you? How do you want people to be soaking you up, right, throughout the day, whether it be on social media, or what do you want your presence to be in a room? What is your narrative that you want to share with others? And we've been able to have some really good discussion this week. Monday, Jeff and I were live and we talked about that 3 to 5 activity. And I'm not sure how many of you chose to take on that challenge, but that 3 to 5 activity that we talked about on Monday is a great opportunity for you to kind of build your persona, right? What do you want people to feel and think about expecting from you? And Brad, if you don't mind me kind of sharing this about you, I think that you do this very well and consistently. When I think
Thank
of
you.
you, Brad, I think of somebody who is solution seeking and funny and always trying to give a very actionable step towards reaching a solution. And I really appreciate that about you. And I don't know that you do it intentionally. I know this is clearly like just authentically your personality, but that's what we were talking about when we talked about that 3 to 5 activity is not who do you want to be, like how are you changing yourself, but being self-aware enough to say, this is really who I am. This is what I'm passionate about. And so I want to make sure that that's communicated to others in different means.
I'll tell you, Ray, that I'm just pulling up on another tab my Twitter bio, and it was actually my Twitter bio that for me was oh, hi there. That for me was a process of kind of distilling where I'm at. And my Twitter bio reads school principal, optimist, recovering perfectionist. I serve and encourage others in everything I do. And when you're forced by Twitter to kind of distill where you're at into a number of characters, you become very intentional and purposeful because that's what guides you, and that's what guides me in everything that I put on my personal Twitter account. I am so excited and grateful to hear that what I intend is being received the way I intend as well. And so, yeah, just like you said, encouragement, believing in others, love, service, and modeling the behaviors that I want others to model in front of our kids. So I really appreciate that, and I found your discussion with Jeff about those 3 to 5 things so key. And then Evan Robb picked up on that later in the week, and we can wait to talk about Evan.
Well, yeah, I mean, Evan was on Thursday. We had Mickey Smith Jr. Coming to us on Tuesday. He was all about finding your sound. Man, and is that guy inspirational?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he just everything that came out of his mouth was better than the sentence before it. Like it just continued to build. I love his storytelling. He has such a rich
Mm-hmm.
ability to share his own story. And the work that he does is about finding your sound. Obviously, he's a musician, but really being aware of what you want to accomplish and chasing after it. So that was a really wonderful episode. I hope you tuned in for that one, Brad.
I did, and Mickey Smith Jr. and just an incredible talent and a real presence, and not an over the top kind of celebrity presence, but a presence where, okay, I'm walking alongside you as your companion and your cheerleader. And I think his vision of finding your sound is, well, it is literally resonant with people because music, our voice, I mean, sound is all around us. And frequently we find sounds in our environment that inspire and uplift us too. And anyway, I'm so grateful that you were able to chat with Mickey, and his energy is infectious. I just loved that session.
Absolutely. I had a great conversation with John Miller on Wednesday,
Mhm.
who, oh my gosh, talk about a guy passionate about so many different things. That was also just a fabulous dialogue. And he is in charge of a school in Mexico City.
Yes.
And the way that he took this conversation about how he is sharing his passion, the fact that he is a learner with so many of the staff members that he works with on multiple campuses was so fascinating. John Miller was a fabulous guest, and he obviously was the day before Evan Robb joined us, who also was able to share so much insight, not only in the work that he's been able to do, but also in how we can craft, our own identities and make sure that we share that clearly with others. So it was a really, really great discussion.
Knowing what fires you up is key, because as long as you know what fires you up, you can always be assured that you'll have the energy and the intention and the authenticity, that your message matches your intention. Evan's passions were literacy and leadership, and he is intentional with the time and energy that he has, and all of these wide contributions that Evan is making. That also helps you as a communicator or as someone who is growing a presence online or through branding or through recognition. It helps to set limits and to make sure that you are devoting the energy you can to making sure that your message, and not just message, I'm certain for Evan and for Mickey, for all of our guests, for you and me, Ray, it's about value added. So it's not about who we are; it's about how we can help. It's about how we can lift others up, how we can enrich their experiences, and as contributors and as producers of content, we're also changing the process too. And so that was crystal clear with all of our guests is the power of networks and the power of knowing ourselves so that we can help others flourish.
So good. We hope if you missed any of the time, any of the discussion on Daily Drop-In, that you go in and re-listen. Obviously, you can find the videos on our YouTube channel. It's probably the easiest spot to like go snag the day-by-day playlist that exists there. But also, obviously, listening on Teach Better Talk podcast. It's just sometimes fun to watch it, and sometimes it's fun to listen. So depending on what you're in the mood for, definitely go find it there. Brad, I know we're going to run out of time because that's just what we predicted for this show as a whole. But this narrative, this discussion of finding your voice, identifying your brand as a teacher, as a classroom, as a building, as a district, was something that I knew was very much a passion project for you as a leader of a building, as somebody that continues to collaborate and grow alongside other educators. Did you have kind of a tip, trick, a reflection moment that you want to leave our community with today?
Thanks, Ray. I think I'm just going to come back to our discussion about knowing yourself and getting clear on your personal and community values. And if you're looking to share great things happening in your classroom or school building, I encourage you to do it in collaboration with your students or in collaboration with others. If we're always striving to make sure that our intention and impact are aligned, it's really helpful to have critical friends who can say, I'm not sure that came across the way you thought it might, or feedback from parents. Are our messages reaching you? Not yet. How can we help them to reach you? Because we can put all kinds of energy into crafting all kinds of rich content and exciting opportunities, but if they're not reaching our intended audience, then that energy is probably best shifted into finding out how can we reach you. And so above all, have fun and find the joy and celebrate the great things happening in your professional and personal life and in your classroom and school life. Joy shared is joy amplified, because when you get that return back to you, that's how you recoup some of the energy lost by devoting all of this time. So just to wrap up, Ray, and I don't know if it's a tiny little bow or wrapping up in a tiny little tiara. It's about collaboration, connection, positive intention, and being open to feedback so that you can continue to flourish and have opportunities to get that joy reflected back to you.
Oh, so fun. See, I always love wrapping up the week with you, Brad.
Oh,
it's so fun.
So sweet. Thank you, Ray.
Next week, we continue with a different theme. Obviously, that is what Daily Drop-In is all about. Don't forget that in addition to the 5 hours of dialogue that we have every single week, every single morning, spending an hour on Daily Drop-In at 7 a.m. Eastern, talking shop, we also have blogs that are publishing over at teachbetter.com that are specifically aligned with our theme every single week. So if you enjoy the discussion that we're having, obviously we want you to connect with the faces coming onto Daily Drop-In. But more importantly, if you are looking to explore and continue the conversation, don't allow those conversations to end here. This is hopefully just the beginning of your journey, which we are thrilled to be in any way, shape, or form a part of. Next week is about reaching all your learners in your classroom, not just some, but all of the learners in your classroom. We obviously will start the week on Monday with Jeff Gargas and end our Fridays with you, Brad. But in between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have 3 brand new faces to the Teach Better family. These members of our community have never been on camera in the Teach Better family before. So I'm so excited to have them come and not only share their voices, but share their passions and have us each connect with new educators every single week to continue to grow not only our perspectives, but our PLNs, our communities, and the people that we continue to gain insight from. So I cannot wait to have these fabulous new faces in our Teach Better family as we continue to grow on a global scale. So Brad, I'm very, very excited about next week.
I'm excited to dig into this topic with you too, Ray. And this is an aspect of education and leadership that I continue to strive to grow in, meeting the needs of each and every learner and even the needs of each and every visitor to our campuses or school buildings, making sure that they know what the value they add is to our spaces and leave feeling that they were true members of the community. So I'm really looking forward to digging into that and following along with all of our guests all week long on Daily Drop-In.
Should be fun. For everyone else, as a reminder, do not forget, in case you are popping in a little late and you didn't hear the beginning, please don't forget to follow the Teach Better team, especially over on Facebook and Instagram. But of course, you can go find us on Twitter and everywhere else as well, because we will be having a few of our members get together for some planning and finalizing of those plans for the Teach Better conference in 2022. I recommend that you follow only because I can only imagine that there will be some massive spoilers right before our big announcement next week, where we are announcing 3 of the most important details of our Teach Better conference coming next week. Additionally, obviously, of course, we mentioned earlier that if you need anything, whether it be because you want to brainstorm or if there was any concerns or issues with, we know, severe weather that is occurring on a global scale, please feel free to reach out. We really are here to not only be partners in your brainstorming as an educator, but really as your growth as a human, and just know that we are here to really be in community with you. So Brad, thank you so much for joining our Friday Daily Drop-In. For everyone else, we hope that you enjoy your last sips of coffee as you get into, what do we say, Brad? The best day ever. You don't even know. This could be the best Friday that you've ever had. Just wait.
I can guarantee this will be the best October 22nd, 2021 that you will ever experience. And so make it the day that it was meant to be. And we wish you all the very best as we head into the weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you. Let us know if you need anything.